Welcome to the agenda as we look back at the disappointing loss to the Bombers on Anzac Day, but look forward to the big matchup against the Cats on Sunday. With me is Jay Clark from the Herald Sun. Jay, is it time for positional changes?
It certainly is, Chris. So ironically, Collingwood plays Geelong this weekend because the Pies face their own Harry Taylor moment, Chriso. Harry Taylor gone from defender to forward, and that's what's got to happen with Ben Reid. He was swung forward in the third quarter on Tuesday. It didn't have a huge impact, but Bucks' biggest problem at the moment is clearly the forward line and the connection of the forward line. Darcy and Coxie, it's just not working, right? Darcy, that mark in the second quarter, it's dropped. He bounced off his chest. That was his big moment. Coxie had his first mark in the last quarter. Reid has the class to be a threatening forward option to help Elliott, and they've got coverage in defence, Chriso. So Dunn can cover Reid in the back half, and him and Shade can work there. But Reid's definitely got to go forward because along with the ball movement, those two key prongs in the forward half really struggled on the weekend, struggled all season. They're not getting the score on the board, Chriso. And before this season unravels completely, it's time to make the change.
I want to talk about ball movement in just a moment, but the other wild card I want to throw at you is Ben Reid. Now, Collingwood have 3 games in 11 days.
Yep.
Now, Ben Reid was managed through the pre-season. At the start of the year, there was an expectation or thought that he'd only play maybe 17 or 18 games. I reckon there's a massive risk that he won't even play against the Cats on Sunday. Well, what happens then?
If he doesn't play, then the wild card in this mix is Ben Crocker. So I thought he was pretty encouraging last year as a mobile forward option. Jesse White in the twos at the moment. Maybe Ben Crocker can play a little bit smaller, so not main either, but he can come in after some okay VFL form and provide that marking option. It's a good point about Reid because we know his soft tissue history and he's such an important player. So do you rest him this week? If he's not going to play this week, maybe he misses one of the next 2. But you got to manage him from that perspective.
And what about Daniel Wells? He's come in off a really limited preparation, was fantastic in the game against the Bombers, but he too facing 3 games in 11 days. Surely he can't play all 3.
Be a huge disappointment. I think there's up to 4 changes here. I mean, I think Aishan Wills can come in. I've got Matthew Scharenberg here, Dunn, who I said, and maybe if Wells and Reid don't play, it would be an absolutely huge blow. Maybe Ramsey as well is under some selection pressure. And maybe Greenwood just holds onto his spot. There's got to be 4 changes. They need fresh legs, Chriso, to come in.
Let's talk about that ball movement. It's a problem.
Well, statistically, it's the worst in the AFL, basically, Chris. So Collingwood's ball movement at the moment. We saw the possession game work against Sydney, where they were slow, kick, lateral, sideways, that sort of stuff. But really, it hasn't worked. They've been hemmed into the boundary line. It's affected the forward performance, Chriso. And I've seen a lot of clubs in the start of this season and over the whole summer mark play on in the back half, go quick, use their opposite sides, open up the whole field. That's what Essendon did. On Tuesday, exactly. They went down the corridor, had shots from the goal square. That's what Geelong does as well, plays this weekend. So this ball movement, I think, it's got to be quicker and it's got to be more central.
Absolutely, I agree 100% with that. The issue for me is not necessarily, and lots of talk about the Collingwood forward line, I reckon it's about the speed in which the ball was getting into the forward 50, and there were contrasting styles against Essendon, where Essendon had a really open forward line because they got the ball in quickly. Contrast, Collingwood got it in really slowly, and I think that players have so down on confidence, they're not actually getting to a point where they're kicking the ball into the corridor because they're not confident, because we've turned it over so many times that there's really a low ebb on that front.
Maybe Matthew Scharenberg with his kicking skills can certainly hope that. I want to ask you about Dangerfield and Selwood. They are the form on-ball combination at the moment, and they cut apart, Selwood in particular, cut apart St Kilda at the weekend. How do the Pies handle these two?
Well, Greenwood plays on Selwood. He's done an outstanding job the last couple of times, and Levi's probably a little down on his best, but this is a great opportunity for him to get back into his best form. He loves the run with role. I'll call it a run with rather than a tag, but you get the gist. And Dangerfield, well, he's a problem, but I don't think you can tag both players. But I'm really intrigued against Geelong. Geelong have a very much a contrasting style to Collingwood. Geelong, in terms of their inside 50s, are in the bottom quartile, but their conversion from scores to inside 50s, number 1. Whereas Collingwood rates in the top 4 for inside 50s. But we are last converting inside 50s into scores.
And I tell you what,
and that's the problem.
For Geelong, they use so much more handball, like the Western Bulldogs, around the stoppage. So they're hands. They give you the opportunity to pressure them, Chris. So the pressure has got to go up this weekend. They get clean hands, and then they get a clean kick inside 50. So the pressure has got to be up against Geelong. Only 5 days break would be a huge win. The biggest challenge Nathan Buckley is facing in his coaching career.
Wednesday moments, that's what we've got right now, and we'll start with my moment, Jay. It's an absolute beauty.
You're a defensive style of man.
Well, I love this from Braden Maynard. He was outstanding. Now, the chase, it's so hard to chase. You can easily give up the ghost. Here's Parrish. He was 7 metres ahead of him, but he just fought, and he didn't give away a free kick, just edged him off the ball, got the handball to Hoskin Elliott, and it resulted in a Darcy Moore goal in a critical moment. And it was just absolute goal from Braden Maynard. There's the end result of the turnover. Yep. But the chase, outstanding work. Well done, young man.
I like Braden. We keep saying that he shows shades of Luke Hodge with his toughness back there. So I definitely like that.
Well,
a lot of the talk was about Daniel Wells last week, wasn't it? We saw him come in and have an impact. His second quarter was absolutely huge. We'll go to this moment now. You can see Jamie Elliott's taken a mark there. He's so important for Collingwood. Draws the player, gives the handball to Daniel Wells, and that's where you see his slick kicking skills. And he celebrated too. He's been under a lot of pressure, as you know, coming into the pre-season, a little bit heavy, had to do a lot of work with Billy Davern, and he did have a big impact. So his kicking wasn't quite up to the level that we expect. He can improve on that as his fitness improves. That goal there, I think you can see the really burden lift off his shoulders, and all his teammates got around him. So Collingwood's going to need more of that of Daniel Wells, and as you quite rightly pointed out earlier, question mark on if he is going to play, which would be a huge blow, along with Ben Reid. So we'll watch him over the next couple of days, Collingwood fans.
One final question.
Yeah, mate.
Can Collingwood make the 8?
I didn't have him in at the start of the season, and I haven't got
to change your mind.
I haven't got him in now. Yep.
If they're going to make the 8, they've got to beat Geelong on Sunday. Simple as that. Yep. So it's a massive game.
5-day break.
5-day break, but we look forward to the big match-up against the Cats. Hope you can join us next week for The Agenda.